So, exciting times here. So what I'll do is I'll show you a little bit about what we're seeing on the screen here, what they all do. Apologies for the audio echo that you can no doubt hear in the background there. In a small little room here, it's not quite ideal, and also the big TV that I'm looking at is off to the side here. So, anyway, what we have here is Odocrypt. Now, up the top left-hand corner here, actually, let me bring this. Okay, so we can see here incoming transaction. This is again, like I've mentioned previously, these are testnet transactions. They're not actually worth anything at all. You can literally give them away. They're genuinely not worth anything. So what we have at the very top left-hand corner here, this is the automated. It's not the miner, but it is the software that readjusts it based on every epoch we get a new seed. So I'll give you a couple of little bits of terminology here. So we have the 10-day time period at which Autocrypt will automatically change itself and render any previous settings for the last epoch will basically be useless. They won't be able to mine correct hashes and things like that. So your productivity effectively goes to 0. And the amount of valid hashes that you get goes to 0. So this is what this piece of software up at the very top left here is doing. It's taking the seed, which is effectively the time every 10 days, although for testnet it's every day, and it is building the software that it flashes the FPGAs automatically. So every 10 days, this will basically go through and rebuild the software. And this is what kind of prevents the ASICs, if you will, because they are FPGAs, that's field programmable gate array. They can be programmed on the fly and reprogrammed. And so when they're done, let's say we decide we don't want to mine Odocrypt, there are other FPGA algorithms out there that you can then take this exact same hardware and use to mine with. So in this instance, this particular piece of software is going to rebuild it every 10 days and allow the miner to be flashed with the updated settings. So what we have here, these are two of my DE10 Nano pieces of hardware, and what we've also got over here is my Cyclone 5 starter kit from Intel. So what we can see is we've got here result inconclusive. We've got a couple of stale results that happen. Now the logging is it's been trimmed recently. The idea being we don't need tons and tons of stuff flying past. This also helps to make debugging a little bit easier. So what we're going to see is these are as the FPGA submits the results back to the pool. Now I have a pool that's happening up here in the corner. We can see actually now it's just on 1 p.m. So that means that everything is about to be reflashed. So it is recreating everything now based off of this new seed. And what we're going to see here is you'll see each of these individual miners for each of the FPGAs is about to start. So they're going to flash themselves. So we'll start, you can have a look at the bottom here, you'll also see the timestamps and things like that as well. So if we watch this go through, basically we're going to see, there we go, so it's flashing them now, it's after it's gone through and recreated them. We'll give it a couple of seconds and we'll just kind of watch that. Actually it says programming successful, so it's already done. So there we go, that took all of, how long are we looking at there? 4 seconds to reprogram that one. This one here took 3 seconds. So what this is they're individual mining instances, so one for each piece of hardware. So this is my first one here. We can see DESOC, and it's plugged into USB port 5. The next one is plugged into USB port 6. And then this one over here is plugged into USB port 3. So each mining FPGA has its own instance of this particular management software, I suppose, that is keeping track of the shares and things that are submitted back to the pool. We can see up the top hand corner here, I'm actually running a pool locally that has been created specifically for Odocrypt. And so this pool is basically saying, send all of the testnet DigiByte through to this particular address here. So again, just want to reiterate, these are testnet DigiByte. They're not actually worth anything. So when I bring up the actual wallet here and it shows that there's 12 million sitting there, those are all testnet DigiByte, and there's a faucet which is literally giving them away for free so that we can test in the future with digi assets on the testnet. So the idea behind the testnet DigiByte is that you can run a command and it will make a fresh block for you, and this particular fresh block will contain enough DigiByte for you to test with. just giving people a bit of an insight there into the testnet, because I know a lot of people see 12 million DigiByte and they think somebody's doing pretty well for themselves. I wish that were the case. So what I'll do though is I'll quickly skim back and I'll have a quick look here at the comments. Have we got anything? Yeah, mostly just barely hear you with earphones on. I will go through and I'll do some more of these a bit in the future again. Unfortunately, this was all very kind of last minute, and I sort of thought, you know what, let's show people what happens at the change of epoch for Autocrypt. And so, unfortunately, this is not in my normal home office and things with my nicer microphone, so I apologize for the audio levels and things. So, in summary, there's several different parts. I'll run through them all just very briefly as well again. So we have the mining pool. Actually, let me quickly full screen this once more. So we have here, this is the mining pool. This is what is taking the shares from each of the FPGAs and kind of collating them. And when it finds a valid hash, it submits it back to the blockchain effectively. So that's what I have running up here in the corner. I also have the management software here, which rebuilds every day on the testnet or every 10 days on the mainnet when it comes out, the software that the FPGAs are going to use. Then finally down here I have my 3 different FPGAs that are mining. You've seen 4 of them in the pictures. The reason that there's only 3 here is because I've unplugged one of them. I was taking a couple of photos of it. Maybe I'll actually bring the photos up in a second. And so each one of these is currently, it's what reflashes that individual device and then starts the mining off once more. What I'll do is I'll actually try and bring that up now. Let's see if I can grab a couple of photos and show you again, just for those who haven't seen, specifically what these FPGAs look like. Let me just scroll back a little bit because I happen to take a bunch of photos. Yeah, here we go. This will do us. So if I full screen that. Okay, so we have here, this is one of the FPGAs. And we've got here, these are the DE10 nanos. And again, so these are all 4 of the FPGAs that I have. So we can see down the bottom left and up the top left there, those are the starter kits. The one in the center and the one on the right, the smaller models, are the DE10 nano kits. So you can get these. I've started to populate the dgbwiki.com with a little bit of information about Odocrypt, and these in particular are ones that we currently have, I suppose, support for. So if you're interested in getting some to try out, there's no specific guarantee that these will work once we go to mainnet. I'm presuming that they will, though, given the fact that it's what we're testing with. But it's just something to keep in mind, I suppose, if you, like me, are not a programmer. What I should do though is let's go have a quick look and see what we've got in terms of questions. So you've asked, can we run the GPU on testnet Autocrypt? So eventually, yes, you will be able to mine with your GPU. However, at present, we don't currently have the CUDA miner or SG miner, for example, set up to allow you to mine with your graphics card. It will come eventually, but I suppose in the early phase of Autocrypt, it will specifically just be for FPGA when we launch the mainnet, unless we happen to find somebody between then and now who can help us out with getting that all set up and things. I can see we've got a few more people joining in. Hi there, Dan. Nice to see everybody as well. So if you do have any more questions, I'm more than happy to ask this kind of on an ongoing basis. This isn't going to be the first and last. Sorry, I suppose this is the first, but it won't be the last that we hear about Autocrypt. We're doing a bunch more work on it. We want to make sure that everything goes smoothly when it comes time to implement it in the mainnet. Now, a few people have noticed what I've talked about previously, and that is that yes, this will replace the myriad Grostel algorithm. Now that's basically because at the moment, in terms of security, it offers the least. In terms of documentation as well, it also has the least. So it kind of makes sense for a number of reasons. There's a lot of reasons why we should replace myriad Grostel, so it looks like that's what we're going to be doing. But otherwise, the version 7.17.1 of the DigiByte core software is what we're currently testing out, and this is what is eventually going to be released. When it's released, the way that it's going to work is we will come out and we'll tell everybody, hey, here's the new DigiByte core software. go and install it, go get ready, and there's going to be a bit of a signaling period, I suppose, a bit of a time for people to implement this on their core wallets. It will also allow mining pools the opportunity to test out on the testnet, make sure that they can mine it correctly as well on the testnet and things. So there's going to be plenty of time for people to get ready, get prepared for Autocrypt and the likes. So it's not like we're going to show up one morning and just go, right, we're changing over now and that's it, and kind of surprising everybody. There's going to be heaps of warning, and we're going to make sure that this is done nice and smoothly, because this is not going to be a contentious hard fork. So this is specifically going to be a fork. Think of it more like a reorienteering of a ship. So rather than you splitting off in a road, think of it more like the whole entire ship is changing direction and everybody is still on board. How bad will this affect your script L3 plus? It won't be affecting it at all. I'll just be 2 minutes. It won't affect it at all. It's a completely different algorithm. The biggest market you've seen for mining with FPGAs is, I don't even know how you pronounce it, it's a Linux based. Eventually, yes, we plan on testing and implementing support for a whole lot more of them. We've already been contacted by a number of FPGA developers and things like that, people from the community who've basically said, I've got experience and I'd like to help out. So for those people, yeah, look, we're more than happy for any FPGA hardware support. I can point them in the direction of the early software that I've been testing with as well, and we basically welcome any hardware support from any vendors. Um, yeah, so this isn't going to affect the existing, so we'll still have SHA-256, Scrypt, we'll still have Skeen and Quibbit as well, so all of those will still continue to function exactly as they are. Basically, we'll be dropping support for Myriad Grostal at a particular time, several months in the future, and after a certain block, we will then instead replace it with Odocrypt. So for people who are running things like, for example, the Android and iOS wallets, they won't have to change. There won't be any difference at all. Everything will just continue running as per normal. Same for any third-party wallets. This will all be handled by the third-party software vendor, and people from the community will be sure to get in touch with the people that run those particular services. Same for mining pools and same for exchanges, to ensure that they are running the latest version of the DigiByte core software, which will include the support. As of now, version 6.17.2 does not include the Autocrypt algorithm, so there's nothing for people to worry about in the meantime. So I hope this has been educational. I hope you've learned a thing or two. Hopefully it's got you kind of thinking about it in the future. If you do have any questions, feel free to hit me up both in Telegram. I'm in the DigiByte developers channel. Jump in and say hi. The links are all in the bottom of digibyte.io. You can tweet me at dgb_chilling. Or feel free to jump on the wiki as well, and if you've got additional comments and things like that, perhaps put them in there too. So yeah, I hope you've enjoyed this, and I will talk to you all in the next video. Cheers.